Let me get my speaker on. All right, here we go. We now call to order the Manitou Springs City Council regular meeting. Today is September 16th, 2025, and it is 6:01 p.m. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Right, I believe today is also National Voter Registration Day, so hope you are all registered to vote. With that, roll call.
City Council members Judith Chandler,
Present.
John Shada.
Here.
Nancy Fortune,
Present.
Michelle Weatherholt, Mayor Pro Tem Natalie Johnson,
Here
and for the record, Mayor John Graham and Councilor Julie Wolf are absent
and excused.
and excused.
All right, thank you. Okay, and next up, approval of agenda. Does anyone have?
I'll move to approve the agenda as presented.
Fantastic.
Second.
All right, and a second and a vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Right, excellent. Next up, we have public comment on non-agenda items. I do want to clarify something. We do have a consideration of a resolution for an updated universal fee schedule. And typically with a resolution, we would not allow public comment. But this time we are going to allow it because we are going to get new updated information and a clarification of information at that time. And so I don't want anyone to have to give public input on something that will be no longer be potentially relevant later in the meeting. And so we're going to allow for public comment at that point. I also want to mention that we are doing a first reading of an ordinance, and typically during a first reading for the unpermitted work in the city, we do not allow public comment until the second reading. So if you are here to comment on that, we are going to ask that you comment during the public comment on non-agenda items, if that helps. And so with that, do we have any public comment on non-agenda items? Okay, thank you, Becky. You know the drill. Okay, 3 minutes. Bring the microphone close to you and press the button. Ready? Okay, yep.
My name is Becky Elder. I live at 313 Plainview Place. And I received an email today with a flyer on it about parking in Fields Park, and that was going to be on the agenda tonight. It is not on the agenda tonight. It was earlier, but it's not now, in my understanding. Is that correct?
So again, typically we don't respond, but it is on the agenda. So it is number 3, the consideration of resolution number 1325, a resolution updating updated universal fee schedule.
Oh, so the parking is in with the universal fee schedule.
it's the
I thought
fee
that was all
schedule.
building stuff. Okay. Well, then I guess I can't comment. But
You
I'm
can
glad to
comment
be here.
later in the meeting.
If I'm still here, I will. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay. Any additional public comment? All right. Okay. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Hello. No problem. And you've been with us before, and so you know the drill. So 3 minutes and then name and address. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Good evening. My name is Shannon Norgord. I currently live at 801 Duclos Avenue, and I am here because of the statute 12.34.010, which reads, roll-off dumpsters, storage pods, and other large immovable objects which take up one or more parking stalls may be placed in public streets or on public sidewalks only for as long as they are in active use in connection with construction, remodeling, or other projects. Upon issuance of a permit for such placement by the city. I emailed all of you, so you can read through all of the notes if you would like, but my dumpster is half the size of your normal dumpster. It's only 2 foot by 4 foot, and it sits between two of my vehicles. I'm not asking you guys to rewrite the whole thing, because it doesn't list movable dumpsters in the ordinance. I'm asking for consideration, that I not be fined or feed to keep my dumpster there. I was advised to go talk to the parking department council, which I did. They said that they couldn't make a decision on this matter. So I'm stuck. You guys are my last hope. My dad was a hoarder. We have lived on our property for 60 years. And I fill that little dumpster every single week. I know that trash cans would maybe look better, or I could move it onto my driveway / sidewalk. But it seems unnecessary, and it would be even more unsightly than it is now. My next door neighbor has gotten rid of his large dumpster and now has trash cans lined up on the sidewalk. I don't know how that's better than his dumpster in a ditch, but that's kind of what you guys have forced us into. I'm asking for some consideration, for some help, please. It won't be there forever, but it probably will be another year before I get everything completely cleaned up. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any additional comments before we move on? Thank you.
Hey there, my name is.
One moment. So push the button. Okay, bring it up a little closer if you
Hello,
want.
hello.
Yep. And then your name and address, please.
My name is Andrew. I live in 824 Midland Avenue, up above the elementary school. This is my first time coming to city council, so I don't know if this is the time or even the venue. I just have some feedback about the parking laws. So is this the right segment? I'm also happy, like, again, I'm not sure exactly what I'm looking for. I'm also happy to talk to an individual after.
Okay. Yeah. So it sounds like we're going to connect you with John Crawford
Okay,
after the meeting. Thank
Great,
you.
thank you.
But just make sure we have your information so that we can do that.
will do.
Thank you. Okay. All good. Okay. Next up, we have our consent calendar. We have the presentation of warrants, the August 19th, 2025 City Council regular meeting minutes, the status of the Manitou Springs Volunteer Fire Department Pension Fund report, and then formal action on Creek Walk 6, which we discussed last week. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Great.
I'll second that.
Okay. And a vote, please.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, thank you. And now proclamation number 1125, the Creek Walk proclamation. And Nancy Fortune is going to read the proclamation for us.
And it appears Ally has some goodies for us as well. So,
Excellent.
City of Manitou Springs Proclamation Number 1125, Creek Walk 2025. Whereas the City of Manitou Springs is fortunate to have extensive and diverse natural resources such as forests, grasslands, riparian areas, lakes, creeks, and a wide variety of open spaces. And whereas the Fountain Creek watershed, including Fountain Creek, related wetlands, existing trails, and recreational facilities, is a unique watershed that is important is an important resource and asset to the residents and visitors of Manitou Springs and the Pikes Peak region. And whereas the Fountain Creek Watershed District is partnering with the City of Colorado Springs Utilities, El Paso County, Pueblo County, the cities of Manitou Springs, Fountain, and towns of Monument and Green Mountain Falls, along with numerous community organizations to coordinate the 12th annual Creek Week cleanup, which will encourage the protection, restoration, and maintenance of the Fountain Creek watershed. And whereas this 9-day litter cleanup effort kicks off in Fountain Creek Regional Park on September 27th and runs through October 5th, 2025 throughout the watershed. And whereas Creek Week programs and activities are designed to raise awareness about the littering issue within our watershed, to encourage organizations and individuals to collect litter and debris to make Fountain Creek and the watershed cleaner and safer. And whereas businesses and churches, schools, nonprofits, neighborhood associations, youth groups, service clubs, and individuals are encouraged to form a Creek crew to clean up at Creek Week project sites. And whereas Creek Week litter removal activities will reduce pollution to our creeks and clogs in our waterways that can lead to flooding, provide for safer drinking water supply, and enhance wildlife habitat and property values. Now therefore be it resolved, the council members of the City of Manitou Springs, Colorado hereby proclaim September 27th through October 5th, 2025 as Creek Week in Manitou Springs, and encourage our citizens to help protect, restore, and maintain our waterways by participating in Creek Week activities. Adopted the 16th day of September 2025 in the City of Manitou Springs, El Paso County, Colorado.
Excellent. Thank you, Nancy. And Ellie, do you have a few things to share with us?
Sure. Good evening, fellow friends of the watershed. My name is Allie Shook. I'm the director of the Watershed District, and we're super thrilled to be here 12 years after starting the first Creek Week cleanup. We've engaged 25,000 volunteers and removed 175 tons of trash, literally one piece at a time. And it's all volunteers. And that's what we really wanted to do, is to spark people's interest in our waterways. They are so valuable. They do bring us so much in terms of recreation, water use, just enjoyment, the wildlife habitat. And so Creek Week is a way for us all to do our part to get out there. There's actually cleanups happening both Saturdays here in Manitou Springs. So pick your favorite Saturday and head on out there. And then the elementary school will, for the 11th year, be cleaning up during the week. So super thrilled to have Manitou at the table, as you've been every single year. And I just want to encourage everyone to come on out and help make our watershed a cleaner, safer place.
All right, thank you. Would anyone else like to comment, or just Nancy?
Yeah, I'll refresh my memory, but it seems to me that Manitou has some of the highest percentage of volunteers per capita of any jurisdiction within the counties.
Yeah, I wish I would have brought those statistics with me, but that is true. Yeah, for per capita, there's a lot of participation in Manitou Springs.
So I would certainly encourage everyone to get back out and do it again this year. So thanks for all your participation and all your support of Manitou Springs and the Fountain
Absolutely.
Creek Watershed.
Thank you.
Excellent. Anyone else? All good? All right, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have consider appointing Lizette Casey to the match board, and then additionally Gerald Mitchell. Ralph, I think you mentioned you might bring both folks up, although we will vote individually on this.
Thanks. I'm Ralph Roughton, 114 Palisade Circle, and Chair of the Match Board. I'd like to thank all of you for your continued strong support of Match and our board. I'm here tonight for a different purpose, and that's cultivating the Match Board for the future. In past years, we've been content to have alternate board members who already had served time as regular members, giving us historical perspective and institutional memory. We still have one alternate, Jason Wells, serving in that role. But now with two alternate positions open, we're taking a different direction, putting forward two alternate nominees whom we see as worthy candidates for regular spots on the board whenever vacancies develop. These two applicants give the board even more variety. One you surely recognize as a longtime resident, the other having moved to Manitou more recently. One has had previous civic involvements and the other has worked in the
Ralph,
music
Ralph,
industry.
one moment. Excuse me, in the audience, excuse me. If you guys, I don't mind if you're talking, but just you could just step outside into the hallway. We can just hear you, so. Thank you. Go ahead, Ralph. Thank you.
Both of them have already participated in match board members, observing how we operate and providing input on some matters. We expect more out of alternates than some, perhaps many other boards. When the time comes to evaluate grant applications, everyone takes part in the grading and consideration process, regular and alternate members. Also, different board members have to recuse on specific votes because of potential conflicts of interest. So it's not just a matter of filling in when members are absent. We need the alternates throughout the busy time of considering and recommending grants to council, and that busy time is coming up in a few months. So tonight, I'm asking you to approve two new match alternates, Lisette Casey and Gerald Mitchell. We sort of flinch at using the term alternates because we consider our alternates to be regular members. And if you ask Jason and others who have been alternates on the board, they feel like they're regular members anyway. First, we have Lisette Casey, a career educator who spent years as a teacher and specialist in School District 14, then also as a program innovator in the private sector. Her civic commitments have included serving on the Manitou Historic Preservation Board and helping the El Paso County Bar Association. We feel fortunate to have her expertise. Lisette, would you like to make a comment?
Sure. Lizette Casey, do I need to say my name or?
Yeah.
315 Crystal Hills Boulevard. I am looking forward to being a member of the match committee or board and just giving back to Manitou and providing that service. I'm excited to be a part of that, this board, just due to the fact that so many of the events that they sponsor are events that are dear to our hearts, and yeah, being able to pitch in wherever I can. Thank you.
Next, we have Gerald Mitchell, who grew up in Colorado Springs and graduated from Harrison High School. Has spent many years since then in all phases of the music business, from composing songs to engineering and marketing. He also has worked in local real estate and has extensive knowledge and expertise in technology, as we've already seen on the board. Gerald?
Gerald Mitchell. Does that work? Sorry. Yeah, no, I very interested in being a part of the match board, and I hope that I can give a lot of the knowledge that I have and expertise in things that I do and kind of, be involved in the city more as far as the arts go and the historic aspects. Been here for about 3.5 years now, and I've been in this room a few times too. And yeah, I think that, being a part of the board would be a good way for me to continue to be a part of the community. I love this city, so I think this is a good way to give back. So, there that is.
And with that, if there are any questions, particularly for the two of them.
Do we have a motion to approve Lizette Casey?
Yes,
Oh, do you have a
Mayor
question?
Pro Tem Johnson, I just wanted to say that I love to see new faces step up to serve. And I really appreciate that your appointments would enrich the diversity on the match board. So I would move first to appoint Lizette Casey to the Manitou Arts, Culture, and Heritage Board as an alternate member.
And I'll second that.
Right, and a vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Fantastic.
And secondarily, I would move to approve Gerald Mitchell to the Manitou Arts, Culture, and Heritage Board as an alternate member.
And I'll second that as well.
Okay, and a vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Congratulations. And thank you again, Ralph, for keeping Match alive and well. All right, so next up, we are looking at a consideration of resolution number 1325, a resolution adopting an updated universal fee schedule. And so this will be the conversation when we do talk about parking fees throughout Manitou Springs. And John Crawford will be kicking things off for us. All right, thank you, John. Okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. John Crawford, Mobility and Parking Director, City of Manitou Springs. Facts presented by John Crawford. You can go to the next slide. We had discussed some changes to paid parking and parking fees, particularly on the east side of town at the last work session. And want to kind of review that and then talk to you a little bit about some of the feedback that has been coming to me, and I know to the city council, and my proposal to address that. So I appreciate this opportunity. And the primary reason we need to do this is the Mountain Metro bus schedule is changing September 28th. The Route 33 will begin serving the Dillon and no longer stopping at Hiawatha. So the demand for the incliners is going to be pushed towards the Dillon and parking that's available on the east side of town. With the feedback from the public related to the paid parking portion of my recommendation on El Paso, I said when I was interviewing with this nice lady and the different members of the council before I actually took this position, one thing that's different about me is I will listen and talk to people. I take feedback, not afraid to change my mind based on the feedback we're getting from the public. And, you know, we have gotten the feedback, and I'm perfectly willing to push this discussion off until the first part of 2026, probably in the April range, and see what happens when Hiawatha does close. And also we'll see very quickly what happens when the bus schedules change. So we are going to be prepared to make that change in the resolution that's before you at this point in time. The Dillon, I feel very strong about. We've got to change those rates. We really don't have much choice in that as the bus route is changing. And as those facilities are coming online, hopefully before the end of this week. And I also want to clarify that at no point in time did I ever say anything about the actual parking lot at Fields Park. There was never any mention of adding that to a fee schedule. I want to keep that for its intended use, that we do have some people, some elderly, some handicapped. We have pickleball players, not that the pickleball players are handicapped, but you know what I'm saying. But we're going to keep that available. It's free parking at this point. We'll probably have to put some time limits in it to help to protect that for the people that are using it. But I just want to make it clear, I don't know where that misinformation came from, but it never was part of it. I do also recommend we continue forward with the Shriver Park. I wrote a ticket today for a guy, watched him sit right there. He got out of his car, went and got on the bus, and I'm pretty sure based on how he was outfitted was going to the incline. So I think that does need help. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Denise, if I've missed something and what you think I need to talk about on this, I'll from my own volition. I was not pressured in any way, shape, or form.
John, do you want to just mention the 50-hour free parking?
Sure. So, as has been mentioned before, there is a 30-minute free parking that is available to everybody who uses our paid parking facilities. And there's also a 50-hour free parking for people who are residents. You don't have to be part of any sort of RPP or anything. You just have to prove you're a resident of the city, and that's available to you. And those would be available in any of these areas we're talking about adding or changing at this point in time. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. I don't know why I'm reverberating, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Excellent. Well, thank you for the update. I guess, you know, do we have any questions, immediate questions from council? Michelle, go ahead.
So I understand we're having a conversation, and I know we have a lot of emails of residents and community members that are opposing this fee schedule, especially not the whole fee schedule, but the ones in regards to Fields Park. Are we sharing those emails tonight so the public can hear them?
I mean, typically, unless they're sent to Elena, they don't become part of the packet, but I don't have a problem with us discussing the content of the emails as opposed to reading each one. I do believe that the bulk of what has been requested of us has been addressed by John's presentation. But if you do feel like something hasn't or has fallen in the cracks, certainly bring it up today. But I think it is worth noting that we did receive a lot of response from the community. And I do believe that that is demonstrated in the presentation and updates that we have gotten today. So I would say it was effective, even though I'm not currently reading them this evening. So is that satisfactory? Okay, excellent. Thank you. Judith, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Johnson. So just to reiterate that you are recommending that we move forward with the fee schedule you recommended for the Dillon lot and the Shriver lot, and that you are comfortable with keeping the 100 block of El Paso a fee-free at this point. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yes, ma'am. I am going to implement recommendations I got from council and you to start enforcing oversized vehicle parking in that area. I think that's valid. We can go ahead and start that. That's independent of any sort of fees or anything.
Well, you're
So-
just reading my mind tonight, Sean, because that was my segue into reiterating that oversized vehicles, tour buses, vehicles with trailers will be have an adequate place to park that's not in a residential area. Lastly, we just want to say that I get real excited when I get emails from residents, and we got many. I don't know if, I'm sure that I got the same emails that council do, but I got at least 11 plus a text from residents who opposed paid parking in the 100 block of El Paso at this time. And so I'm okay, and I feel very comfortable with doing a pilot without having that as paid parking and see what happens. And then, revisiting that in the future. So I just want to thank you for your flexibility, but also thank the residents for letting us know how you feel. We want to hear from you and really appreciate your comments.
All right, Nancy.
Yeah, I was also influenced by all the emails and the passionate pleas I've been getting from people on this issue. Why are we wanting to implement this on October 1st? I mean, why not wait for even Shriver? I don't mind Dillon, Dillon's fine, but why even for Shriver don't we wait until next spring to assess what's happening with it?
Because now with the pool being closed and the athletic center closed, we're seeing that lot fill up, and it's not people using the park that are doing it. So we want to try to keep that protected for people that do want to use the park. So we have free parking there. They're hitting the shuttle and they're going to the incline. And the intention and direction I've had from this body as well as my boss is to try to get that parking directed out at the Dillon Mobility Hub. So that's the reason for Shriver. And the bus route is changing, and so we need to address the rates at Dillon, because the bus route will service there and not Hiawatha, plus the new facilities are ready to open, and that I think that warrants a little bit more than $5.
How many parking spots are there at Shriver Park?
Don't hold me, my legal counsel's here. I believe it's just over 40. I can verify that for you.
Okay, so to clarify for me again, because the slide's gone again, we're looking at changing the fee schedule to Shriver and the Dillon and still the 100 block. Are you still including the 100 block in there, or is that kicked until next spring?
No, I'm willing to wait and see what actually happens with the demand in that block as the bus changes and when Hiawatha closes. And again, we're going to be in off season, so I get that. I understand that. So I was trying to be proactive, and it probably wasn't the best decision in my life, but it won't be the only one that gets reversed.
No, and
But I think we can wait and see how, as we go into the spring and what the demand is in that area, and we can certainly revisit.
okay, because my suspicion is that it probably, the residents will come back to us and want it. That 100 block fee for that.
That's my
because I-
prediction, but if I'm wrong, that's okay.
Right,
too.
exactly. Me too, me too.
Yeah.
So that's my prediction, but I could be wrong as well. So we're looking at, rather than the fee schedule that we have in our packet, to take out the 100 block of El Paso for now and just leaving the Dillon and the Shriver in there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Michelle.
Thank you, John, for all your hard work. I understand that parking has always been and always will be a challenge here in Manitou Springs. I really hope that when this does come back for the 100 block of El Paso, that council does have community engagement before they do vote. My term will be ending on January 6th. I would like to have it on record that even though we do have residents that use the pickleball courts and have 50 hours of free parking a year, we also have community people from Colorado Springs or tourists that all of a sudden have a fee to pay. And then they have to incorporate that into their travel funds. Oh, I will not be going to this park because I have to pay X amount of dollars per hour just to play. Hence, they'll be able to go to Bear Creek 10 minutes away or wherever they go. So I really hope, and as the new city council starts in January, that 100 block of El Paso, you have to think all of the families that go to that park, people on limited income, all the things. I understand that national parks, they pay for their parking, but this is a public park. I also understand that the park in Old Colorado City is a paid parking, but I also understand that there are businesses just down the road from that park. So please, residents, community members, and the future council, when this comes back, please take into consideration of everything, because the things that I voted on and have been for these last 4 years, a council can come in, bring up that whatever situation and change the vote that this council voted for. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay. Okay, go ahead, Judith.
This is not necessarily directly related to discussion, but for just in the spirit of full transparency, I had a discussion with John before the city council meeting started, because I ride the 36 shuttle frequently, and I love to chat with the bus drivers. And on 2 different occasions, bus drivers have requested, please talk to your parking people, because we would like the area where the bus idles right there by the tennis courts to be striped, because people even park there. And what's happened is on several occasions, the bus drivers have had to then idle in the right lane, clogging the right lane of traffic. And so I did pass that on to John, and he said that he would address that. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Judith. Okay, I wouldn't mind having a motion on the table before we bring up, we do have one person in the audience here that would like to give public comment. But before we do that, I wouldn't mind having a motion on the table just to see if we're all in favor of the current fee schedule as presented, not the fee schedule that was in our packet. Go ahead, Nancy.
I move to approve resolution number 1325, a resolution adopting an updated universal fee schedule. But the Appendix A, or whatever it is, Attachment A, which is the fee schedule itself, needs to have the El Paso Boulevard portion taken out of it.
Excellent. Do I have a second?
Second.
Great, excellent. Okay. And with that, do I have any discussion before bringing Sharon forward to make her comment? Okay, excellent. Sharon, can you please come forward? And again, Sharon, you are not the only person that we've heard from, but you are the one that's here this evening. But you do need to sit down and this part. I would, and push the button and then say your name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Sharon Haas. I live at 205 Mesa Avenue in Manitou Springs. And I did come tonight because I was very concerned about the parking issue regarding Fields Park and El Paso Boulevard. I have to say that it sounds like for right now, that has been resolved. I appreciate you letting me know that. And I'm just glad to hear there were others stepping forward, and I'm sure expressed all the same concerns that I had. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate that, and I may be back.
Thank you so much. And stay tuned. We will be discussing this in the future as well, so. All right, but you're good for this evening. Thank you. Okay, all right. And with that, any additional discussion before we vote? Okay, let's vote. Oh, I'm sorry, Becky, did you have anything to add from your? Okay. All right, excellent. Thank you, Becky. She just said that she did not need to make a statement at this time. All right, and a vote, please.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, excellent. Thank you. And thank you, John Crawford, for making this work for us this evening. Okay, next up, we have first reading of ordinance number 1825, an ordinance of the city of Manitou Springs, Colorado, adding a new chapter 12.40 of the Manitou Springs Municipal Code to prohibit unpermitted work in the city. And again, this is a first reading. Okay, Ben.
Good
Bring us
evening,
up to
Council.
speed. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Ben Schmidt, Public Services Director for City of Manitou Springs. Thank you, Council, Mayor Pro Tem. Wanted to bring a little context to why this is being brought forward to you tonight and a little bit of history. And where we have to start is the purpose behind having permits in the city at all, because they can seem a lot of times like a bureaucratic hoop that you have to jump through, but just wanted to explain why it's so important. So the number one driver behind having a permit is to protect the health and safety of the traveling public. And this includes making sure that emergency services can respond in a timely manner. Folks have adequate notification for driving, walking around the city, cyclists can get around. The second reason is that we want to ensure that all this works meets city standards. As I'm sure many of us have experienced, a poor patch job at one point or another in our life when it sinks and it's not compacted correctly, or the infrastructure is not connected correctly from the public to the private connection, it causes problems that the city and the taxpayers ultimately have to fix. And then the other final thing that is a real benefit to the homeowner is that it guarantees the work is inspected, bonded, and documented, which protects the property owner for any future sales as well as any sort of claims they might have in the future for insurance. And so understanding that context for why we have those permits is important, because ultimately what we're trying to do is ensure that all contractors who perform work in the city do obtain these permits ahead of time. The permitting process through the city is relatively straightforward. You can go online and fill out the application, submit your traffic control plan, your bonds, all that information, and then it's routed through all the departments, approved, and you get your permit and you can move forward. And then there's the inspection process at the end. We make sure all the work's done correctly. Where we have big challenges, and this is a problem that has been in the city for a while, but is started to surface more and more lately, is that we're finding that there's a lot of work that is done without proper permitting. And oftentimes, if we aren't there to catch it, we have a process for stopping work as it relates to grading and site work. But if we're not there to catch it, it is a substantial amount of effort to go back and track down the contractor to try to get them to not only fill out the permit, but then retroactively have to sometimes expose utilities to do inspections, get compaction, all these things that they now have to re-tear the street back up to put back in. And so the goal is really just to set the precedent that when you're doing work in the city of Manitou, that you need to obtain the permit. We're happy to walk through the process. All you need to do is call and the staff can help you through that. And also ensure that we have some sort of mechanism to recoup some of these costs, because with limited budgets that we have, and as you can see, our crews are working really hard to take care of the infrastructure we already have. It's a little bit unfair to the residents to have to push off one patch to go fix a patch or something from a contractor who didn't perform it correctly and didn't obtain the permit.
All right, excellent. We did hear from one person from the community that basically just said, would we consider a warning first? And I do hear in a lot of what you're saying that it's contractors primarily that you're working with, and a contractor in theory would know that they would need to obtain a permit as opposed to your average resident doing a project. And so is there a way to distinguish between those, or does it matter? Or what's the percentage of contractors versus residents that are kind of falling into this category?
Yeah, you're correct in the interpretation that this is primarily an issue with contracted work, so that a resident hires a contractor to do the job. They say they've got all the permits, everything's taken care of, the resident is paying for that work, but there's no real way for them to check if the contractor did indeed get all the inspections, pass all this stuff like there is through the Pikes Peak Regional Building Department permit portal. So while our partners at Pikes Peak Regional Building do a great job of ensuring all the work meets the standards within 5 feet of the building, it's the city's responsibility to make sure it's meeting the standards outside of there. And so we're really focused on like service line connections, connections to the roadway, sidewalk, pavement. That's really geared towards the contractor end. Whereas for homeowners who may or may not know that they need to fill out a property improvement plan, the intent is always to educate first without issuing $1,000 fine. And I think the city staff has really strives to do that, to educate, to bring them in and say, hey, actually, you really did need a permit, but your fences that you put up without having the proper permits, we can work around if we can get everything inspected and figured out there to get you correctly permitted. Whereas if the street's torn up, the tie-in's been made, the asphalt is patched back, it's really difficult to hold them accountable, and the homeowner doesn't really have any way to hold their contractor accountable, and that's where the city would step in. So that's what it's primarily geared towards, is not the homeowner per se, but for contractors doing work throughout the city.
Thank you. Let's see, Nancy, I saw you first.
Who is issued the fine, the contractor or the owner?
The contractor would be issued the fine. So it's the same way that if you have a contractor that doesn't pull the correct licenses through Pikes Peak Regional Building, doesn't have all their correct documentation through Pikes Peak Regional Building, Pikes Peak Regional Building goes after the contractor there so that the homeowner is left out of the middle of it, because otherwise the homeowner gets issued the fine, they've already paid the contractor, and then they're stuck in the middle of this, whereas the city would issue the fine directly towards the contractor who isn't performing the work.
Yeah, I completely agree with the concept of this resolution. I am concerned about what Natalie brought up, that it seems like there are tiers of the contractor and big projects versus a fence that someone in ignorance put up. And it's $1,000 fine either way, potentially, and it depends on if you're, who's enforcing it. So do you have any help for me to get me to agree with this?
And so the way that this would be looked at from the city perspective is if it's somebody who truly didn't know and you can engage them and catch them, like a homeowner who's putting up a fence, for example. You can talk to them about, hey, here's the permit that you need to fill out. Let's stop work until you get the permit figured out. Let's document the whole process. Here's the warning that we went through to try to get you into compliance. Where we have the issue if we create tiers is it's a very small fraction of people, but say you have a homeowner that deliberately stays below that tier every single time, and they know that they're going to get a warning time and time again, and then they keep encroaching and not following city specs. That's where we have to have a different mechanism to handle that situation.
And what you're saying is very reasonable, but again, that's not outlined in the resolution, that it's, that you'll work with the.
I could jump in on that.
Thanks.
I mean, your entire city code has provisions that are violations if you're not complied with. And so, a lot of the enforcement is up to the discretion of the officials enforcing them. Somebody might get a speeding ticket one time and not another time, and it's kind of a discretionary review. And so I was asked this question today by Denise and Ben, and my answer was, well, you don't put that discretion in every code provision. It's just implied, and it's just, you have to rely on the common sense and good faith of city staff for each situation. I think it's pretty hard to put that in an actual code provision.
How about an appeal process?
There could certainly be one of those people. It's an administrative decision. And so that actually is subject to an appeal, but that would go straight to a district court if they wanted to appeal that. We could have an appeals process to a higher city official if you wanted to. Just another layer of.
Yeah, my knee-jerk reaction is that sort of just to the city, not to the court, that some sort of an appeal would be appropriate in this case, particularly if it's an individual resident.
I mean, I wouldn't want to say individual residents can appeal, contractors can't. I would just, I mean, I know you're not implying that. I mean, you could have we do that for certain administrative decisions, and we generally bring it to Denise for her review.
Yeah, and I would be fine with the city administrator being the final appeal person for it. But I do think that a little bit more definition within the resolution I would feel better with that, I think.
We could definitely make that addition if city council wants to.
Right. And Judith?
Yeah, that is a thank you, Counselor Fortune, because that's a perfect segue into what I wanted to say. Oftentimes the contractor is the homeowner, as in my case, I did a major remodel of my home, and I was the GC, and I pulled all of my own permits, both at Regional and Manitou. And so and I have had contractors skip out on me, literally. So it does happen. So in those cases, if the contractor has a fine imposed, it will fall on the homeowner. So I really agree that we can really clear this up on page 1 in 12.40.020 violation penalty. Paragraph A, I would like to see that changed from violations of this chapter shall be punished to violations of this chapter shall be resolved by one or more of the following. And then the first I would be the contractor and or homeowner would be notified and have an opportunity to resolve the issue. And then also the second II would be an appeals process would be in place if there are discrepancies and so on and so forth. So instead of a punishment, we have a process to resolve, which includes the concerns of Mayor Pro Tem Fortune, but still imposes the fine if that criteria isn't met, I think would clean this ordinance up.
John?
The other thing, I guess, to me, from what you explained, it seems like to me we ought to clarify the intent of the ordinance, which is unpermitted work in the city right away. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, it'd really be unpermitted work anywhere in the city. And the reason I say I delineate between the city right of way and the property is because the service line portions for the water and the sewer connections, there needs to be some mechanism to inspect those from the house all the way to the city right of way. And so if you define it to only the city right of way, it ends right there, and the homeowner is not protected for any sort of inspection process for, say, a sagging replaced sewer line. And that often comes up sometimes if you don't have a city official who understands that process and understands how it's supposed to flow and be compacted and bedded, then there's really no inspection in there. So that's why I didn't want to just limit it to just the right of way.
Okay. Any additional questions? Okay. Okay, well, so unfortunately, so this is a first reading, and so at the second reading, we allow public comment. And so unfortunately, this is the way the process goes. You can certainly email us at any point and let us know your ideas, but tonight there isn't the opportunity to participate, which, is how it works. So thank you. Okay, so Judith had some ideas that she would like us to consider. Would you be willing to kind of sort of make that into a motion for us to?
I will
So-
state my suggestions. And again, this is 12.40.020 under violations and slash penalty. That instead of it reading violations of this chapter shall be punished by any one of the or more of the following penalties. I find that a little punitive. I'd like it to read violations of this chapter shall be resolved by any one or more of the following. And then list the following to begin with. The first one, I'm going to use lowercase I. The contractor and or homeowner will be given an opportunity to resolve the issue of the unpermitted work. And then two, an appeals process will be in place for individuals and or contractors to resolve disputes. And then contain the rest of the items you have listed. That gives the contractor and or resident a chance to, I appreciate the individual from Pilot Knob who sent an email stating that he put up a fence and he didn't know that it didn't know that it required a permit, and he was informed, so he paid the permit fee after the fact, after the fence was installed, and I appreciate that feedback because not everybody knows or reads the, code and understands. So I think that people need to have an opportunity to resolve the issue before a penalty is imposed.
Okay,
So those would be my recommendations, and I would be willing to make a motion with those proposed changes. Jeff, if that would be appropriate, if I can just add those changes.
Yeah, my only suggestion would be maybe give me a little flexibility to sort of work the language and maybe reorganize it a little bit so it reads a little differently. But I think if the city council would approve generally what you're recommending, which is an appeals process to the city administrator and an initial requirement that the contractor or property owner be given an opportunity to resolve the matter, then I could maybe draft it just a little bit differently than putting it in exactly as you described it, but it'll cover what you want, I think.
If I make a motion, could I just say, with proposed changes to that section as discussed?
That'd be perfect.
All right. Going to give this a try then. I move to approve on first reading ordinance number 1825, an ordinance of the city of Manitou Springs, Colorado, adding a new chapter to 12.40 of the Manitou Springs Municipal Code to prohibit unpermitted work in the city with
I'll add that with a requirement that the owner and or the contractor be given an opportunity to resolve the matter, and with an appeals process to the city administrator of any administrative decision.
and a date for second reading in 2 weeks or otherwise notified.
and that will be October 7th at 6 p.m.
October 7th. Thank you.
I have a second.
I'll second that.
Great, thank you. Nancy. And a vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Sure. And Nancy would like to just make a quick statement.
Yeah, I just want to say, Ben, I think that this has been a hole in our ordinances. So thank you very much for plugging that hole, because it is an important issue that a lot of people ask for forgiveness rather than permission. So this is good.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ben. Okay. And now any council correspondence? Oh, sorry.
Just that the sign on Crystal Park Road that gauges your speed is not working again, so.
Michelle.
Pikes Peak Marathon is turning 70. And the Manitou Springs Heritage Museum has an exhibit honoring that. And festivities will start this Thursday at 4:30. The ascent is on Saturday at 7 a.m. and marathon is on Sunday at 7 a.m. So please plan accordingly, especially with our work that we're doing on Manitou Avenue. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Michelle. I do believe that our city administrator will be participating in the ascent this weekend, so good luck with that. I just wanted to suggest, last night at our school board meeting, we were able to pass a resolution in support of the bond measure. And I'm wondering if council would be interested in discussing a resolution to support the ballot measure at our next meeting on October 7th. Correct.
Yes.
So is that something are you all comfortable if we bring that forward? Okay, excellent. All right, thank you. And any additional correspondence before we move to the city administrator report? All right, Denise, you're up.
Yeah, just one quick thing. The September 29th meeting, we will not be having this special meeting. We're hoping to bring the audit on October 21st. So September 29th, we will not have a special meeting. And then I do want to mention that the Friendship Day was a huge success. I know Judith was there and it was a huge success. The team did a great job. I don't know, 60, 70 residents were there, just really very positive and encouraging. So if Counselor would like to make any other, Counselor Chandler would like to make any other statements.
Thank you, Denise. Is that okay? No, what a wonderful day of friendship. And this was totally resident and community led, created. It was just an awesome event. Certainly some shout outs. Shanti Toll, Jenna Gallus was really amazing, and all the people that brought food and music and community. And this is what Manitou is all about. It is was one of the most pleasurable evenings I've had in a long time. And so I'm really grateful, and hopefully we can continue this. I'd love to see this happen more than once a year. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Judith. And you're all set, Denise? Okay, excellent. Now we are going to move into executive session. This is an executive session to determine positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators pursuant to Section 5.1D of the Manitou Springs Municipal Charter. This executive session concerns the Manitou Springs Metropolitan District. And with that, we will take a short break while we transition to that portion of the meeting. Oh, sorry. And do I have a motion to approve moving into executive session?
So moved.
All right, and a second.
Second.
Okay, and a vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Excellent. And now we will take a break to move into executive session. Thank you.